Winter had definitely settled over the small village of Evergreen Hollow. Snowflakes fell slowly and gently, covering roofs, trees, and cobbled streets with a fluffy white layer. Each flake seemed to have a journey of its own, floating gently in the air before joining the vast white carpet that already covered the ground. There was no rush. Everything around seemed suspended, as if time had slowed down. The silence was almost absolute. Not the ordinary silence of a quiet night, but the kind of silence that carries meaning. No sound of birds or strong wind, just the faint, distant crackle of a fireplace coming from one of the wooden houses. The streets, once full of footprints, were now smooth again, covered in fresh snow. The houses of Evergreen Hollow, all decorated with Christmas lights, cast a colorful glow on the snow. Each point of light created little flecks of red, blue, and yellow in the pristine whiteness, as if the stars in the sky had spilled onto the ground. In Benjamin's house, the scene was different. There was no sound of laughter or Christmas music playing on the radio, like in the other houses in the village. The decorations were there, the modest Christmas tree, with simple old ornaments, the flashing lights that blinked softly and slowly. But the spirit of Christmas seemed absent. The air was heavy, as if the whole atmosphere was stuck in a memory that no one wanted to mention. Benjamin was sitting in his old rocking chair next to the fireplace. His expression was a mixture of tiredness and nostalgia. The wrinkles on his face were the lines of silent battles he had faced every day since his wife, Isabel, had left. He stared at the flames, but his thoughts were far away. It wasn't the fire he saw, but the memories. He could clearly see the image of Isabel walking around the room, holding a tray of fresh cookies. He could hear her soft laughter as the children ran around her, trying to grab the cookies before they were served. But now, the emptiness was evident. The fire burned, but it didn't warm the heart. Her rocking chair moved slowly, emitting a faint creak that filled the room at constant intervals. The creaking sound seemed to mark the passing of time, like an invisible clock. On the wooden table next to the fireplace rested 2 letters. They weren't Christmas letters. They were wishes written by their children, Alice and Lucas, on a simple sheet of paper. Alice's letter, in her childish scribbles, read, "Dear Santa, I just want a special Christmas. I know you can do it." She had drawn a big golden star at the top of the page, with crooked and imperfect strokes, but done with dedication. Lucas, who was 14 and no longer a child, wrote more directly, "I just want peace." 2 letters, 2 simple but powerful messages. Benjamin read those words several times that night. They were short sentences, but each one contained a whole world. His mind kept repeating, "A special Christmas and peace." How many people in the world wouldn't want the same? He closed his eyes and took a deep breath, trying to dispel the feeling of failure that insisted on settling in. He felt that he had failed as a father. He hadn't managed to protect his children from the pain of loss. He hadn't managed to bring back Lucas's full smile or preserve Alice's innocence. Now, there he was, staring at 2 letters that asked for things he couldn't buy, build, or give with his own hands. The fire crackled, sending out sparks that danced in the air for a few seconds before disappearing. With each new spark, he thought about how fleeting everything was, how happy moments faded so quickly. He knew he had to be strong for his children, but that night, the weight seemed more than he could bear. On the floor, Alice was playing with the ornaments on the Christmas tree. She moved the little angel figures around, talking to them in a low voice. Her little fingers adjusted every detail with almost magical precision. Her eyes shone, not with the reflection of the lights on the tree, but with the innocence that only a child can have. She believed. She believed in Christmas. She believed that something special could happen. Lucas, in the other corner of the room, was lying on the sofa with a book open. He wasn't reading. He flipped through the pages mechanically, as if his hands were moving out of habit, but his eyes didn't follow the words. He stared at the ceiling, lost in thought. Ever since Isabel had left, he had become more closed off. He didn't complain, he didn't ask for anything, but the silence he carried was louder than any shout. Benjamin watched his two sons from afar, saying nothing. He saw the contrast between them. Alice, with her infinite hope, and Lucas, with the weight of the world on his shoulders. They both needed him. But who was looking after Benjamin? The silence in the room seemed to grow stronger by the minute. It was as if something invisible was about to happen. A kind of anticipation hung in the air, a feeling that couldn't be explained with words. It wasn't the kind of silence of someone waiting for a gift or an invitation to a party. It was the kind of silence that precedes a revelation. Benjamin didn't know why, but something inside him made him look at the window. The glass was partially blurred by the heat inside and the cold outside, but he could see something that made him stop completely. A star. But it was no ordinary star. Its light was stronger than the others, and it didn't blink. It shone steadily, like a flame that never goes out. Its golden glow illuminated the snow below it, leaving a soft reflection on the white ground. Something about that light drew him closer to the window. He stood in silence, staring at the star. It seemed closer than usual. It seemed alive. Benjamin stared at the words, "A special Christmas and peace," and realized that these were not just his children's wishes. They were also his own. He had spent so much time focused on the pain of loss that he had forgotten that he also needed peace. This teaches us something powerful. Often, the answers we seek are not outside of us, but within. Portal December 12th invites each of us to look up at the sky, and at the same time, look inwards. Just as Benjamin saw the star and felt the call, we are invited to perceive the signs that the universe sends us. These signs are not always visual. They can be intuitions, presentiments, synchronicities, when things that have nothing to do with each other start to connect perfectly. Another important aspect of the 12-12 gate is the invitation to release. Just as winter takes away the dry leaves from the trees, the portal invites us to let go of what no longer serves us. Many people cling to the past, to pain, mistakes, sorrows, as if it were part of who they are. But Gate 12-12 teaches us that carrying around what we don't need only slows us down. Like Benjamin's son Lucas, who carries the weight of silence and longing, many people believe that being strong means not talking about what hurts. But the real being strong is having the courage to face what hurts and let it go. For those who have faith, December 12th is a time to draw closer to God. It's when we are called to raise our consciousness and realize that we are more than body and mind. We are spirit, and spirit responds to the call of the divine. Just as Benjamin saw the star and was touched by a sense of peace, many of us can experience this divine touch. We don't need a star in the sky for that. God speaks in the silence, in the space between our thoughts, in the calm that comes after the storm. This portal is a chance to pause and ask yourself, what do I need to leave behind? What are the purest desires of my heart? What is God trying to show me right now? The energy of the 12-12 gate also amplifies our ability to manifest. But beware, it's not the manifestation of superficial desires. During the portal, whatever is projected from the heart has multiplied strength. If you plant an intention of love and peace, the universe gives it back to you. But if you project fear, complaints, and resentment, the energy you receive will be compatible with this. The December 12th portal doesn't judge your intentions. It only enhances them. Just like Alice, who wrote A Special Christmas and drew a gold star, we can all throw our wishes into the universe. It's not about waiting for an external miracle to happen. It's about recognizing that the miracle begins from within. Alice, even as a child, had more spiritual awareness than many adults. She believed. She knew there was something bigger, even if she didn't understand the details. You might ask yourself, how can I take advantage of this portal in my life? Here are some spiritual practices that can help. 1. Write down your intentions. Take out a piece of paper and write down what you want to manifest in the next cycle. Don't ask for material things but feelings, states of mind and virtues. Peace, courage, love, forgiveness, renewal. These are invisible gifts that transform lives. 2. Meditation or intentional silence. Take a moment for silence. Turn off your cell phone and notifications and allow yourself to just be with yourself. Listen to what your heart has to say. God often speaks loudest when everything around us is silent. Release burdens. Take out a piece of paper and write down what you want to leave behind. Write down fears, sorrows, guilt, and regrets. Then burn the paper, safely of course, as a symbol of liberation. See the ashes as the transformation of these burdens into something new. Nanga. Gratitude. Before you go to sleep, make a list of at least 12 things you are grateful for. Often, what we lack is not a new gift, but the awareness that we already have much more than we realize. Einde. Prayer and surrender. Surrender your intentions to God. Ask Him to show you the way and the direction. God hears all prayers, and the December 12th portal is an opportunity to open up to His voice. Like Benjamin, who found peace by looking at the star, we are all invited to notice God's signs along our journey. Often we are so caught up in the worries of everyday life that we fail to see what is right in front of us. We get caught up in the weight of the past or anxious about the future. But the December 12th gateway invites us to stop, breathe, and look at the present. Perhaps you feel that you carry the weight of many responsibilities, just like Benjamin. Perhaps you've been struggling silently, without anyone noticing, or you're facing a situation that you can't control. If this is the case, I want you to know one thing. You are not alone. The December 12th gate symbolizes the opening of a spiritual door. It's a powerful time to reflect on what needs to be left behind and to make room for what God wants to do in your life. This is a time of liberation, renewal, and manifestation. It's as if heaven is closer to us and God is calling us to see beyond the difficulties. Think about what you've been carrying. It could be the weight of a loss, an old hurt, guilt that won't let go of your heart, or even fear of the future. Now imagine what would happen if you could let go of it all. Imagine yourself placing these burdens before God. You don't have to carry it alone. God wants to carry it with you. The star Benjamin saw in the sky was no coincidence. It was the symbol of a call. God often sends us signs, but they don't appear as a bright star. They can come in the form of a feeling, a word someone says to us, a verse we read, or an intuition that comes out of nowhere. These signs are like little lights along the path, guiding us into a new cycle of peace and purpose. What do you need to do to receive this gift? Just open your heart. Simply by talking to God. You don't need formal words or rituals. Just talk to Him, like you would talk to your best friend. Tell Him what's on your heart and ask Him to show you the way. If you feel you need guidance to get through this portal and start a new cycle in your life, I want to introduce you to The Chosen Devotional, 40 Days of Reflection and Spiritual Renewal. This devotional was created to help you see the world and yourself through God's eyes. For 40 days, you will be guided by profound reflections, messages of faith, and practical teachings that will strengthen your soul. Each day will be an opportunity to connect with God in a deeper and more intimate way. Just as Benjamin found peace by looking at the star, you too can find peace by looking within. The devotional, The Chosen, is an opportunity to do this. It will help you to release the past and let go of what no longer serves you. Discover God's purpose for your life, increase your faith, and strengthen your trust in God. Feel peace in the midst of difficulties. Reconnect with hope, even after difficult times. Each day of the devotional is a journey of discovery and transformation. You don't have to go through the portal alone. I'm here to guide you and remind you that God is with you. Now it's your turn. Leave your mark. Here. I want you to do something very special right now. Take a piece of paper and a pen. Write down 3 things you want to leave behind, and 3 things you want to manifest in your heart from now on. After that, if you feel it in your heart, write it here in the comments. What do you need to release? What do you want to receive in this new cycle? I'll be reading each message and praying for you. Write without fear. By putting it out there, you begin to create space for the new. Remember, you have been chosen. God has not forgotten you. He is by your side now, touching your heart, just as he touched Benjamin's heart through that star. You don't need to know all the details of your path. You just need to take the first step. I, George, am here as a spiritual guide to remind you that the way ahead has already been prepared by God. And if you need direction, the devotional, The Chosen, is here to help. If you've read this far, it's not by chance. You've been called. Now leave your message in the comments and share what's on your heart. Don't be afraid. God is with you. And if you need a sign, remember, you are the star that shines in someone's sky. You have been chosen.